Alright, welcome back video game design students. In this video I'm going to show you a process called box modeling, and this is how we're going to start out with our spaceships. So as the name implies, we're going to start with a box. So make sure you're choosing a polygon primitive cube, and there's our box. I'm going to hit Shift F to frame that in all of my views. And I have my drawing here in front of me of my spaceship. So that's why I'm in quad view here. Remember to tap your space bar to get that up, or it exists over here below the toolbar. And to start, I'm just going to go to face mode. And here's my top view. Here's my side view. And so we want our spaceship, or we want our final model to look like that when we're done. So with this, I want you to actually be extruding faces. Don't extrude these edges out. It does bad things if you don't have an open edge. An open edge will look like this. You'll have like a missing polygon. These are open edges. So I'm going to undo that. So make sure you grab that face, edit mesh, extrude. And this this beauty here is called the universal manipulator. It is a very powerful tool. It's all three tools in one: the move, scale, and rotate. You just click on that certain part of the manipulator, and you get that function. And you can click this circle out here to get the rotate, just FYI. But sometimes, and I will hopefully show you an example later if it wants to behave, of how that can be a little weird. So right now I'm extruding out my cockpit area here. Again, I'm going based on my drawing and just scaling that out, actually down. And one thing that a lot of beginning students don't quite get is how to make curved lines. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you a really easy way to get some curves going. With Maya, or rather any 3D program, we're dealing with straight lines all the time. To give the illusion of a curve, we have to have sections of straight lines that gradually change direction. So what I'm doing here is I'm just extruding this out and scaling it down. And you can see, especially here in my front view, that I have more of a curved surface here. I don't want you to go overboard with the number of segments to make your curve. You'd be surprised with just how little you can get away, or how few segments you can have to suggest a curve. So I'm actually going to undo that because I need to come back and I need to extrude out the rest of my fuselage back here. So like I said, we're blocking this part of the ship out. And blocking is just a big general shape. Oops, so I was holding Shift to select both sides of my fuselage. I'm going to extrude out the wings. So this is one of the cool things about that universal manipulator. Let me make this big so you can see. When I pull this out in the Z direction, both sides go. So I can do both sides of my ship at the same time. Same thing with scaling, and go both of those ways. The trouble comes in, and we're about to see if this works or not, is sometimes when you want to move something forward, and it's working for me right now. This may not work for some of you, as if you pull it one way, the other side may go the opposite direction. And if that happens, that's when it's best to switch over just to your move and scale tools. So according to my drawing, back to what we're doing. My wings sweep forward, so they're going to come this way. So I need to extrude this again. Remember, G on your keyboard does the last option that you've done, the last command that you've done. And so I'm gradually going to start bringing these forward, and I'll use a couple of different segments to do that. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's one way I can show you. So if I move this up, the other side goes down. That's where that can get weird and funky. Maybe a little bit further up. And then I'm going to have one more small segment out here. And of course, this will be different for your spaceships, because your spaceships should look different than mine. Alright, so I have my fuselage, I have my wings. Then back here, I'm going to, I need to extrude out my engine. But most of those engines are going to be round, and it's really hard to get something round from a square. So what I need to do is I need to cut my ship in half. To do that, I'm going to show you one of the functions of the multi-cut tool that's under Mesh Tools, multi-cut tool. And what I can do is I can have my mouse out here, outside of my object. I can click and I can drag, and wherever I let go, it'll cut that orange line there. But I'm going to hold Shift first to constrain this, to make it a perfectly straight line up and down here. If I let that go, it's hard to see right here, but oh shucks, I had that face selected, and so that's all it cut. So let's go back to object mode, try that again. Alright, this is being obnoxious. Alright, no faces selected. Multi-cut tool. Third time's a charm. There we go. So now that is cut all the way through. You can see it went all the way around. Now the last little bit of cleanup here I want to do is I'm going to switch to vertex mode, and I want to select all of these faces. Sorry, not faces, vertices. I'll select all those vertices, and I want to snap them to that Z axis up and down. And so I'm going to go into my Move Tool settings. I just double clicked on that. And under Move Snap settings here, you need to turn off Retain Component Spacing. So what that does is, say if this were not a straight line, something like that, and if I grab all these vertices like I was going to do anyway, if I hold X to snap to the grid and move this over, then they all end up in that straight line. If that was on, if retaining component spacing is on, then if I snap, it retains that spacing, it keeps that spacing, and it doesn't end up being a straight line for me. So let's turn that off, hold X, snap to grid. I just want to make sure that's right in the middle. So I'm done with those tool settings. Let's get back, hit 5 to go back to shaded mode. 4 goes to wireframe is how I did that. I can be back in perspective view for this. So I'm actually going to select both of these faces here. And I'm going to extrude them out here. And what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to set up, actually I'm just going to switch to my scale tool. I'm trying to set up where this engine is going to come out of. And so what I can do is I can scale these edges, and I can make more of a hexagon shape here. And then when I extrude these faces out, then I have something that's a little more, it's more round, and that is good enough for me to pass off as round. I'm going to continue extruding this out. Let me scale this up. I'm going to move it out slightly, so I have that little lip where the engine's going to start. Extrude again, move this back, And then I'm going to actually make this, the engine, a 3D shape. Well, of course it's a 3D shape, but just watch real fast. So I'm going to extrude this down, and this is going to be a lip for the end of my engine to give that some volume there. So when I extrude again, I can push this in, and there's some depth. There's a hole for my fire to come out of. Now the thing I'm missing is a tail fin here. I'm going to make this out of a separate object because I've seen some students doing that, and if I can remember where to go to make a cube. I'm doing this for a specific reason, because I know people are making some parts of their ships from separate objects, and I'll have to show you how to combine those objects back together. There we go. So I'm just going to make some divisions right there so I can pull this out. Yeah, that's one of the awesome things that wireframe mode is good at, is just showing you where some of these hidden pieces are. So let's make this nice and fast looking. Let's move that spacing a little bit. Missed. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe pull this up some. Oop. Go to object mode, put this a little bit better in place on the back there. And then I can make some little cylinders. I need to rotate that this way, significantly shrink that down for those little guns that I had on my wings here. Now instead of making a whole new cylinder, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this one. So it's the same as in Unity. It's either edit duplicate or Command D, Control D if you're on PC. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm just going to scooch it over. Let's actually pull these back. And if you have more than one selected, then it'll duplicate both of those. So I can put these on the other side. Alright, and that is the start of my spaceship. So that is a completed, blocked out ship. So I'm going to save my scene, and I will see you next time.